Welcome to EDU TV with 4.5 lakh plus viewers and over 1,500 educational repositories across the world. The founder is Mr. Pranav Guhathakarada and co-founder is Ms. Tanya Sethi.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, whichever geography you are. This is Pranav Guhathakarada from EDU TV with 4.5 lakh plus viewers across the world. Today, we have a very important guest with us, Mrs. Khanna, Mrs. Madhu Khanna. She is the principal of Global Indian International School, Tokyo, Japan. Welcome, ma'am.
My pleasure to be with you.
And our moderator is Mr. Yudhishthir Puran Singh, a graduate from Bombay University and Managing Director of Dehradun Hills Academy. Welcome, Mr. Yudhishthir.
Thank you, Pranav.
And we have got three students, very proactive students with us. We have Adishesh from Delhi Public School East, Bangalore. We have Ananya Yadav from Indraprastha Global School, Noida. Ms. Ananya Rai from Venketashwar International School, Dwarka, New Delhi.
Good morning, everybody. I think we are all aware about the topic. I mean, the main topic is how can a passive and reluctant learner be transformed in active and enthusiastic learner. So that is the topic. I think I see three students, Ananya, I've got two Ananyas and Adishesh. I think being students, I think this topic is so apt for you because as learners, I mean, you are probably, which class are you all in? Ananya, which class are you in? Rai?
I'm in 12th. I'm in 12th.
12th. Or what about Ananya Yadav? What grade are you in?
12th grade.
Okay. Adishesh, are you also in grade 12?
Yeah, I'm also in grade 12.
Great. I'll just open the floor. So, I mean, this particular topic, I mean, this is something that our guest, our main speaker, Mrs. Madhu Khanna, will resonate that there are students who unfortunately are not able to get out of their comfort zone, and they are probably reluctant in approaching the teachers, and as a result, they are unfortunately not coping up with their studies or their academia or their overall grooming. So in that context, we would love to hear ma'am's views. So let's start with any of the students. If any of you would like to start with any question that you have for Mrs. Khanna?
I thought to start with alphabetical order, but all of them start with A. We can start with Adishesh.
Yes, Adishesh, let's start with you.
Good morning, I'm Adishesh from DPS East. So basically for us, going to college is a stepping to an unknown area from a known area. So what preparation should we do to make the transition a smooth process?
Adishesh, this is a very relevant question. Most of the teenagers and who are on the verge of graduating, they face that. Although the topic says, active learning and become passive learners to active learners, but I find your question very relevant to your age. Although it's not a time to, educate you on what you should be doing, because as a responsible teenager, you already know what you need to do. But transition is always a painful time because it is chartering from known to unknown. So the school environment is very safe for you and you want to charter to the unknown one. So essentially, if you are preparing for a university, and as you all are in CBSE 12, the first and foremost is you must take ownership of your learning. You need to know where are you at present and where you would want to be in future. So if you get that clarity, not just in mind, but if you put it on a piece of paper, like you put your own development plan is what I can say. And that will give you a lot of clarity into mapping where you are currently and where you would want to go. Developing, utilizing support services and technology right now is the only way, you can get enough information and knowledge about yourself. So as students, I'm sure you must have done some effective subject choices when you had taken CBSE 12. Based on those choices, you will now form them up in your university. So when you do that, you must be open to new experience, especially, getting involved in extracurricular activities. As you know that university admissions are based not just on your academic results, but they are based on what kind of person you are and what kind of activities you are pursuing. For example, let me share an example with you. Recently, I met with the counselor of Cambridge CAI for Asia Pacific, and we asked this pertinent question to her, that what helps you decide taking admission in Oxford as to what they need to do. So they said that we don't look at just academic scores. We look at something which is defining a child. So participate in activities you want to do. For example, there is a science student. If you are a science student, then have you done any research project? And where has that research project helped you find something new? Have you written a research paper? I mean, that kind of expectation is there if you are pursuing a university or kind Oxford, you know. Second is that communicate with professors. Now, with technology, you can communicate with professors beforehand. You can write to them, I want to pursue a course, and this is where, you know, will help me. Could you guide me on this? I'm sure, you know, they will get back to you. Attend as many orientations as you can. Different universities come with different university fairs. So try to attend orientation programs with them. And most importantly, be open-minded. So if you're open-minded, you know, about having new experiences, going to on a different hat, then you will be prepared for going to universities at your end. And most importantly, you know, what carries you forward is your own life skills, your study habits and your life skills. So if you have effective study habits and good life skills to keep yourself up, I'm sure, you know, these things will help you, take you a long way. Although I have said about universities, but let me bring you back to the topic of creating passive learners to active learners. Active learning strategies can be used in many ways. And one is that instead of just taking a book and writing down things or reading, go out and explore them. Try to have a meaningful learning experience, and that will really help you beforehand. Many students, they join summer programs. Many of them do collaborations with industries they want to go in, and they do those kind of studies. So these help in better preparation. I hope I've answered your query well.
Very much, ma'am. Ma'am, I would like to add your one thing. Like one of the students for a Ivy League university, he made a project on the pattern of spots on a leopard, and he got into an Ivy League university. Only marks are not that very important. Now I will request Ananya Yadav from Indraprastha Global School to ask her a question on marks versus holistic education. Over to you, Ananya Yadav.
Very warm morning, ma'am. It's an honor to be here speaking with you. I'd like to ask you, how do we go about transforming students from passive and reluctant learners to active learners? At times, students tend to have this rather problematic approach towards learning, where they believe that marks are more important than activities. And thus they end up with this conclusion that conventional studying methods are more effective than active learning. How do we go about changing this narrative among students and make them believe that marks are not the only thing that truly matters? What would be your take on this?
This is a wonderful question, Ananya. First, I must say that, because there is a lot of parental pressure, there is a lot of school pressure and peer pressure for children to get good marks. And, you know, the self-esteem gets a boost if you are performing very well academically. But suppose you put your marks, you plot your marks on a graph, and then you plot 25 years from now. Suppose you take the people like us, you know, who are been in the industry for 25 plus years. So did our marks in grade 10 or 12 define us now? Possibly no. The answer is definitely a no. You take any CEO's growth chart or anybody who's established himself and you ask what his marks in grade 10th and 12th were, they would say they didn't matter now. So the marks have an importance to only a certain extent, is to get you the desired university of choice. But there also they play a limited role. For example, there are 10 students getting 100 on 100 in mathematics, and they are going for a mathematics course in a prestigious university. And only 2 seats are there. So how would the university choose those 10 students? All of them have 100 on 100. So what will they look at? The marks are already there. The students, then they will go into the other parameters. The next question would be, what is the child going to do after doing the course? Is the child only going to do the course for the sake of doing? What is the life goal the child is defining? And when you define a life goal, you also define how holistically developed you are going to be. And that holistic development doesn't mean just going and participating in school activities, going and singing because somebody asked me to sing, and going and participating in somebody asked me to do. It has to be coming from within. If you are participating in a community outreach project, is that community outreach project defining your next goal step to the university? Or is it just, collecting money and giving it to a charity? Or there is something more to it? So that will definitely add more value to your personal statement when you write your personal statement for university applications. And holistic development does not just help you with the university, it also is a life skill which goes on and on. In 21st century, your digital literacy, your communication skills, and critical thinking and problem solving skills, these are the ones which will be needed in the next 5-10 years from now when you are going to go for your jobs. How would you develop them? You can develop them through a good academic score. Definitely, books and teaching does help them. It makes them 80% of your, profile. But 20% of your profile is what differentiates the child. And that 20% differentiation will come through a participation in active learning approaches. Whether you take up a research project, or if you are literary oriented, whether you're able to put your thoughts on paper in a proper manner, are you able to write a 4,000 words essay? This is what I would suggest to you.
Thank you, ma'am. You've answered so aptly.
I would like to add one more thing. Like, I know you registered from last 10 years. I know Madhu ma'am from last 1 week. All three, when we spoke, we never asked each other about, Madhu ma'am never asked me, Pranav, how much marks you had before starting a conversation with me. Same goes with me and Yudhishthir also. Now, before I come to Mr. Yudhishthir to conclude the topic, I'll request Miss Ananya Rai from Venketashwar International School, Dwarka, New Delhi, to ask on how to stop the confusion while choosing a course or a college. Over to you, Ananya Rai.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, ma'am. It is an honor to ask you a question. My question is, there's a wide range of things in your mind while choosing the right college. Sometimes people tell you to choose a college instead of the course for the name of the college. Sometimes they tell you, take the course wherever it's best, the college doesn't matter. I want to know, how do you think we can choose the perfect college for us?
Many a times, children choose course and college you've made a choice with. So the best way to choose things is write them down first short list. Nowadays, there are many, platforms available for children to make a informed choice. For example, in our school also we use Cialfo, and then we use Mindler. I don't want to promote them just because I'm saying them, but then these kind of platforms help children make choices. One is they let you know what is your profile, how is your mindset. So that can come through a psychological, self-test you can take. Where is your mindset? That's irrespective of what subject you're doing in school or what choices you have in mind for yourself. Second is, if you are using a platform, it gives you all information available at one source. What is the, sometimes you want to choose a course and college, but then your finances don't allow you to do that. So this has to be a long-term plan. And that long-term plan can be, at least five years, minimum 5 years plan. So start shortlisting. as to where you see yourself. So you have a vision for yourself that in 10 years or 20 years from now, this is where I want to be. And from there you drill down that, okay, if I have to be at this position, what are the skills I will need to reach there? And if these are the 10 skills I needed, out of these 10 skills, which skills I get them when I do a graduation course, when I do a post-graduation course? And all that, if you put a mind map of it, then those courses, then you map the college or course to that. And that time you will have lots of parameters available, the country you want to choose, the environment you want to be within, the finances which come with it, the kind of professor. Some certain courses, they're very much dependent, professor dependent. So if there is a very good professor for the course, well and good. Otherwise, everything goes for a toss. But don't go by perceptions and what the world says or popularity. These may be limited to a certain extent. Do your own self-study, self-research, and believe in yourself that you want to do it rather than somebody telling you that you need to do this. So if you have your self-confidence on what you want to do, then you can take all the parameters and see which one works best for you. Sometimes at graduation level, you need not be very specific. There are certain courses, you can mix and match. You rather go for a university which is easily approachable and where you can get your course. But for post-graduation, you can be very specific as to, what you want to do. For example, people who do MBAs. So MBA courses are available anywhere around the world, but then very few are prestigious ones, which give you a good placement. So then they can go take an MBA course, which is at a post-graduation level, which will take you further. So this is my general advice to you on this.
For that answer, ma'am. That was a great answer.
Yeah, it was indeed. Thank you. Now I'll request Mr. Yudhishthar Puran Singh, Managing Director, Dehradun Hills Academy, Dehradun, to conclude the session. Over to you, Yudhishthar. Very much.
Great. Technology doesn't work always, boys and girls.
Yes.
All right. Okay. All right. So first, I'll quickly. We are running out of time. So firstly, all three of you, Ananya, both Ananyas and Adishesh, bang on all your questions. I think when I look at myself, how presentable I was when I was in grade 12, I think you are miles ahead of all of us. I think Madhu ma'am will probably second that. And Pranav will definitely second that as well. I think Pranav and me both know that. So the fact that you're thinking about these things at such a young age, you are on the right path. All right. That's the first thing. So kudos to your school, all three schools, all your teachers, principals, parents, whoever are working with you. They are doing the right things, whatever that may be. All right. That thing. Quickly coming to Mrs. Khanna, I think because of her experience, ma'am has been in the industry for n number of years. So when she's answering all your questions, we can see how effortlessly she's answering all your questions. So that is one thing. I'm sure, ma'am, your students in Tokyo, wherever they are, I'm sure they'd love to come to your classes, because the way you are explaining these things, these are not easy answers to give. Let me assure you of that. They are not easy answers. All right. So the way you are effortlessly answering them, hats off to you. And that is precisely what experience is. The students, there's no substitute for experience. So learn. So one of the things that ma'am said, be open to experiences. So these are experiences for you. So learn from these experiences. So when you have a good speaker, when you have a person who's a good orator, learn from him or her. Try to see how can I improve myself. All right. So we've got two main things that we are discussing about. One is about making a reluctant learner somebody more engaging, and the other one is that we're talking about courses versus college. So if I quickly come to how to make a reluctant learner, I think there's no easy answer to that. The only way that you can make somebody who's probably not interested in learning much is probably by getting to know him better. If you know the student better, the answer will probably be that you will try to understand him better. You will be able to understand what are his likes and dislikes. what are the things that he's interested in. So he may not be interested in maybe understanding some concepts about organic chemistry, but he may be interested in learning something about organic farming. He may be interested in learning something about journalism, but he just never got a chance to express himself. So understanding your child, understanding your student is the first step in transforming him from being somebody reluctant to making him into somebody who's transformed into somebody who's asking questions. Apart from that, as a teacher, as educationists, I think what we have to do is we cannot have one size fits all approach for every student. So I've got 3 students out here, and I shouldn't have one approach for all 3 of you. Adishesh, Ananya Rai, Ananya Yadav. I should look at you as individuals rather than look at you as students. Because if I look at you as individual, I'll try to guide you and give you solutions what are apt for each one of you. So as educationists, the moment we look at students as individuals, we'll be able to transform them. And thirdly, I think the whole idea of getting curiosity in the learning. I mean, getting a child curious about his subject. So lastly, I mean, we were discussing about courses versus college. I think Mrs. Khanna rightly put up, be open to new challenges. Don't look at just fixed parameters that, okay, I want to be an engineer, lawyer, doctor. I mean, I remember there were only 3 careers that we used to talk about. Vakil banega, lawyer banega, doctor banega. There were 3, but now there are 300. And every day there's a new career option developing. We have to think about the future. Ma'am rightly said 10, 15 years later, what are the skill sets that will be required? So think very meticulously about where you want to be and what is the requirements in the real world. So I think a couple of things that you can keep in mind is be as informative as possible. And you can never have as much information as one needs. There's always be scope for learning, and that thing never stops. Please ask Mrs. Khanna that in your free time. She'll say, even I learn at this age. The learning never stops. All right. So I think on a whole, I mean, ma'am has rightly answered all the questions. And I think the 3 of you, I mean, you can be the pioneers in ensuring what you have learned, if you can spread it out to your juniors, to your other students in your community. You can use social media, right? Ma'am rightly said, use technology. Technology is a big thing. If we use it in the right way, we can actually transform, I mean, not just a reluctant learner, we can transform the education system also. You are the future, not us. You are the future. So I think, thank you so much, Mrs. Khanna, for sparing us your time, your precious time. It is indeed an honor for all of us to have an opportunity to have a discussion with you. And I mean, all the students, kudos to you. Well done. And lastly, I mean, but not the least, EDU TV and Pranav, I mean, I think they're doing a wonderful job connecting people across continents. Their viewership in lakhs and lakhs of people. But I think more than the viewership, it's the thought that Pranav has, that thought, and he's using it for the betterment of the society and for the betterment of you students. Most importantly, you are getting something through EDU TV, which I think none of us got when we were students ourselves. We never got a platform where we could express ourselves, at the same time be able to understand people's perspective. Because understanding people's perspective is a big part of your future, is a big part of the solution that we are talking about. Over to you, Pranav.
Thank you, Sister. I like your approach. As you said, the teacher should be like a football coach. Their training should be like different strokes for different folks.
Yes.
And you also mentioned, in our time, we had only the 3 old monks, like engineering, medical, CA, that's all.
Yes.
And you said a very important thing, perspective. Not outside, Ananya, Adishesh, and Ananya. At home also, I think we have to be very careful about respecting differences of other people or perspectives. I'm really thankful to you, Sister. You very nicely concluded it. And I would like to thank Mrs. Madhu Khanna and her commendable advocacy for students' welfare, sitting across at the Far East, and she's helping the students. And ma'am, you spoke very eloquently. I think this is one of the best interviews we had with the students. And all 3 students, Ananya Rai, Adishesh, and Ananya Yadav, you have got a very important thing with you that is called initiative. Madhu ma'am, I sent a WhatsApp to their principals yesterday night, and morning they are here. They must have prepared. And look, a person who takes initiative will always win.
I
Yes,
agree
Madhu,
with you.
say something.
Thank you so much. Thank you, EDU TV. And it was a real pleasure to talk to these young students, Ananyas and Adishesh, and to Mr. Yudhishthir for summing it up so well. It was real pleasure to be with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And
Namaste.
please subscribe EDU TV.
Yes, please do subscribe, share, and like. Don't
Yes.
forget, all
Thank
of you, pass on the message.
Thank you.
Okay.
Welcome to EDU TV with 4.5 lakh plus viewers and over 1,500 educational repositories across the world. The founder is Mr. Pranav Guha Thakurata and co-founder is Ms. Tanya Sethi.